Hello everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar, How to Build a Reporting Culture that Drives Proactive Risk Management. My name is Greta Salverson. I'm Content Media at Notify Technology, and today I'm joined by Lily Glidden, our Business Development Manager. Lily has been working at Notify for coming up 2 years and has been in the health and safety tech industry for over 5 years now. In this time, she's helped hundreds of safety leaders and organisations adopt technology that turns data into insight, empowering them to get ahead of workplace risks. So in terms of today's agenda, I'll start by setting the scene and outlining the reporting engagement gap and why it's a problem for many organisations. We'll discuss why reporting engagement is the single biggest lever for safer workplaces and the hidden costs of paper-based processes and clunky digital systems. I'll then give you an overview of Notify and how we may be able to support your organisation with its safety management. Then Lily will give you a demonstration of Notify's incident management software and mobile app in action, showcasing how you can engage your frontline employees. She'll also show you how the software lets you close the feedback loop to maintain that level of engagement, and then how this whole process gives you more data insight to proactively manage and reduce workplace risks. Then at the end of the session, we'll have some time for questions, so please feel free to use the Q&A tab at the top of Teams to submit any questions you have, and we'll get to those at the end. So let's get started. So a common problem we see from safety leaders we talk to across organisations and sectors is the reporting engagement gap. If your hazard and near miss reports are really low, it doesn't necessarily mean that your workplace is safe. In fact, it can often mean the opposite. The hazards and near misses that never get reported are the ones most likely to become the next accident. So to get ahead of this, you need visibility of what's really happening on the ground. So you'll probably all be familiar with some of these issues: paper slips getting lost between sites and never reaching the system, spreadsheets falling apart when multiple people are logging entries, and clunky digital tools that aren't fit for purpose, requiring an internet connection and lots of time that the frontline don't have. If you're currently battling with these processes, you'll likely be experiencing underreporting, partial data, slow investigations, and a safety strategy that's stuck in reactive mode. So the bottom line is, engagement is hard to build when a system is working against your frontline. And that's when Notify comes in. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Notify, we are a health and safety software partner that helps organisations proactively manage risk and stay on top of compliance, making sure that everyone works safe and goes home safe. We have a range of modules to support with this, which I'll cover in a little bit more detail on the next slide. But essentially, our purpose is simple. So we want to create a safer, healthier world of work. You can see the real world impact of our solutions on the left here. So improving reporting, saving time, and reducing accidents in the workplace. This ultimately means more efficient operations and high levels of productivity from your workforce. You can find loads more examples of the tangible results over on our website under our case studies, or if you follow us on LinkedIn, you'll see that we often share these here too. So let me tell you a little bit more about our solutions and how we actually do all of this. So we offer a range of modules to help you manage health and safety processes. So these span incident management, audits and inspections, risk assessments, and more. Our flexible platform is designed to be simple enough for everyone to use, from frontline workers through to senior leaders. Our goal is to empower your workforce and your safety teams to capture accurate, consistent data so you can turn that insight into smarter safety decisions. We're really strong on the partnership side of things as well. So we don't just provide software, we work alongside safety leaders to help them get the most from Notify and drive real impact in your organisation. So in today's webinar, we're going to focus on incident management. If you are interested in seeing how our other modules work, please feel free to email Lily. Her details will be shared at the end of this webinar. Or you can go to our website and book a full demo there. Or alternatively, feel free to pop in the Teams chat if you'd like to see us demo another module on a webinar like this. So in a nutshell, just before I hand over to Lily, this is how Notify's incident reporting software is helping real safety teams build a culture that drives proactive risk management. So it comes down to two main things, really. So first, it's really simple to use and it's open to everyone. So the Notify app is free to anyone to report on. So the barrier to logging hazards or near misses disappears. And secondly, once those reports come in, you get the oversight to act on them, real-time alerts, clear action tracking, digital audit trail for compliance, and then the data to spot trends and make decisions that actually reduce risk and protect your workforce. So I'll pass you over to Lily now, who will walk you through all of this in more detail.
Yeah, thanks, Greta. What I'm going to do is share my mobile screen first for you all so that you can see how easy it is from an end user's perspective to report incidents live. And then we'll then jump through and bring to life more of the main side of the admin platform for you. On my mobile screen there, simply click on the app. They can as simple as scan a QR code, and as you just saw, it doesn't require a specific login. Now, one of the big key priorities for Notify is allowing any member of your workforce, any member of your team, whether it be contractors, permanent staff, third parties, anyone would be able to simply scan a QR code, use a unique company code, and then come straight through to logging in, so making it super easy for everyone. The reason why Notify is prioritizing engagement is because all of these incident categories that you see within here can be customized or changed, but we always do a high level focus on 60 seconds or less to report an incident themselves specifically. And the reason for that, if it takes you longer than 60 seconds, we just like to keep the engagement as easy as possible for all of those end users. So as you can see in here, date and time auto populates. You also have a nice little toggle at the bottom, would you like us to remember your details? So as soon as they input in details, it'll then remember them every single time moving forward. So the reporting only ever gets easier and easier. They'll have everything from drop-down fields in here, whether that be drop-down field, yes, no, and A's, or anything that can be quantitative. And the reason for that is it typically gives you less human error and it's just so much simpler for the end user as well, while also giving them the opportunity to provide you with additional information within here. They can have completely open text fields, or they can activate that microphone in the bottom right hand corner, speak into the device, and it can then transcribe for you as well. As I'm working my way through, you'll notice a few of the different questions automatically populate. That's because, again, that feature of automatically being able to be quicker and quicker every single time. If I go back to the start, what you would be able to do is import all of your different sites and locations. Within those sites, you could have departments. Within those departments, you could have divisions. Within those divisions, you could have teams, and so on. We work with a few companies who run 24-hour, and they've drilled that all the way down to different shift pattern if they wanted to as well. What you can also choose to do is pull in the GPS location as well. Now, like Greta highlighted, one of the biggest struggles that we see with a lot of businesses is you are not blessed with 100% of Wi-Fi or internet all the time. The way that the Notify app is that it works completely offline itself, so it'll automatically save everything as the user's going through, and it'll resync as soon as they reconnect to a stronger Wi-Fi or internet signal within there. The GPS is pulling on the GPS on the mobile device, so again, doesn't require internet or Wi-Fi access as well. You could have everything in here from them being able to take photos. Now it says 3 pictures. The limit itself within the app is 99 images. The reason it says 3 pictures on here is, as you're about to see, I take pictures of my mouse multiple times a day. So it just means that they've limited me to 3, with it being a bit of a demo account. They can choose to select picture, it'll take them to the device's gallery and they can upload them from there. And as you can see underneath, they can annotate them as they go as well. You can add or change anything within here. So you can give them the ability to add actions if anything needs assigning outwards to anyone else. You could also give them the ability to write in, have they cleaned up the spillage? Have they already completed a corrective action? And have that ability in here as well and customize what all of the pages look like. So that you can try and remove as much human error as possible, you've got a quick review and submit page where they can click on any of the drop downs on here. All of the right-hand side there that you see is green. If it hadn't been completed or any mandatory fields have been missed, it'll give them a little red exclamation mark, so it's super nice and easy from the end user. And once they're happy with everything, they simply press submit, and then that report is then sent to the teams that are necessary. What I'm going to do now is jump from this page to our admin side of the platform so that you're able to see what that incident looks like from start to finish once it's being shared within there as well. On the admin side of the screen within here, you'll notice all of the filters at the top. So as soon as you've come into your admin platform, you can see on here how many incidents have happened. You can filter them by start date, location, and just making this whole process easier, especially if you're using Excel spreadsheets, for example, being able to just simply filter which ones are pending in investigation right now and being able to then see that list. You will also notice on here as well, you can simply export all of this as well. So CSV, if it's into Power BI or lots of other things, you can simply export it out. If I select on that incident that I just logged within there, you'll notice that all of those questions from the mobile device have come straight through, all the way through to that image on here. Now, a big piece of the engagement side for the user is actually them receiving some acknowledgement to say, yes, we've seen the incident, yes, we're understanding it. So what you can see at the bottom here is a complete audit trail of everything being date and timestamped as you go. So all of the changes that have been logged by me raising this incident itself. And what you will notice is just up here is an email acknowledgement thank you to me for logging this incident in here. So they receive a thank you acknowledgement to say, we appreciate you logging the incident itself. They will also receive a further notification once that incident has been dealt with and also closed. So they're continuously feeling like they're being listened to and encouraged to then log further. Another part on here is you will also notice that it's also notifying all the necessary people internally. So as soon as an incident's happened near miss, if it's based at a certain location, who needs to be notified and when. As we know with incidents, they can progress, change, develop over time. So what you are able to do is use any of these custom flags within here, add on any additional ones. As soon as you adjust and change anything within here, not only does the date and timestamp change, but also the notification pattern can also change. If it's increased in severity, if it's increased in read or reportable or lost time, you can notify all of the necessary people on the back of that as well. And then also drag and drop any additional files, folders, CCTV footage, or anything that's needed in there as well. Alongside your date and timestamp at the bottom here, you also have your comments on here. Some people use these as reminders to each other if they're off on annual leave. Others use it as just a note-taking exercise, or I've even used it as if CCTV footage these days doesn't always give you a file, sometimes it gives you a URL link. You can input that and it's still all kept on the same record for you. If during an investigation process or a second stage on this incident, you might want to then also raise some actions within here. Actions can be set as any description. You can assign an action to absolutely any email address. They don't need to be a user on the system and they'll still be able to update and complete it on their end without even logging in for you. You can set a priority and a due date, and based on the due date, automatic notifications will go out to that user it's been assigned to as well. To make it super easy for yourself and the filtering later on, you can set anything with categories all the way through to aligning to different standard clauses or anything like that. Some businesses use these for internal KPIs. Most businesses we work with also drill this down to ISO certifications. The reason for that is ISOs tend to be an interesting process if you're needing to gather all of that evidence manually. So the part of this means that you can drill all of the way down to those different subclauses within here, and it means you've got an amount of evidence in there for you. So your next ISO, or if you're maintaining one, should be much easier with all of this evidence that you've already gathered as well. You can link it back to other records. So like Greta said, we have multiple other modules within the platform itself. But if there's been multiple incidents happen at the same site and they're all linked together, you can link those. If you wanted to become a little bit more proactive within those, you'll also then be able to link back to maybe a risk assessment. Maybe you need to update safe working procedures, and you can then become the whole process more proactive than reactive from your perspective as well. You can investigate any incidents within here. you can do single stage investigations or multi-step within here. And a large focus of this can be root cause analysis, but also putting together an action plan to prevent it from happening for yourself as well. Again, all of this can be fully customized to you. Everything can be exported to a PDF. But while I touch on root cause analysis, you'll notice at the top right hand corner there is a button called Spark. Now within here, you can have the option of turning on or turning off our AI assistant within here. And the reason for that is I know a lot of businesses are utilizing AI right now, but it's not necessarily required in all businesses. So you can turn it on or off depending on what your stance is internally. But the way that AI works within Notify is, for example, if you needed to do a root cause analysis report, you simply press generate on here, and there's two bots working in the background. One is formulating it in the same format so that you get a standardized type of report every single time. And the second one is the information that it's pulling. The reason why I like this AI is it's because it's saving you the time to build the report so that the most of the report is already built. It also gives you a confidence percentage at each and every different root cause analysis so that you could utilize that as well. And also it allows for a human level of expertise by simply pressing a pencil and being able to edit it straight away within platform rather than having to take it out anywhere as well. So the idea behind this is to completely save you the time and give you a standardized report while also allowing for your human level of expertise at every point. Whether you need it to speak board level and have an exec briefing, or if you spend hours a day building toolbox talks, you will be able to roll these out as well within here. Toolbox talks itself, I always think it's a fine balance. I think it's really easy to put the talks together. For example, I think what the challenge is in most businesses is getting a fine balance between the implementation strategy of those toolbox talks. So what this allows you to do at the bottom is it not only gives you an idea of those talks, but it also gives you that implementation strategy at the bottom and what that could relate to. So again, it's a really nice starting point that makes it much easier for businesses while still always allowing your health and safety experts to add their human level as well. Now on here, during an investigation, on here you might have raised actions throughout, they could be corrective. So even if the incident is closed, the action can still remain open within there for them as well. You'll notice the same filters at the top. You've got start date, end date, who it's been assigned to, and you'll notice on here they view and relate to all of the different incidents themselves. So even if the incident's been closed and been completed, your action could still remain. It's been assigned to Callum on here, but say if Callum was on annual leave, for example, I could simply reassign that, and then at the bottom, you've got the same date and time audit trail at the bottom for yourself as well. Drag and drop anything, attachments that is needed, all the way through to aligning to any confidentials as well in there. Everything can default as confidential if you would like it to, any sensitive information, and you can adjust it from there as well. Now, I said a little bit earlier on that you can raise an action to absolutely anyone as long as they have an email address. Now, the part that the end user would then be able to see, so that person who's received that email would be able to see the description of the action itself and be able to update this status part and also attach files, folders, and evidence for that. The reason that I like the status part is, for example, if Callum has then listed this as in progress, he can attach additional notes. If he's put it as done and then set a description of that and also given evidence, what you will also notice is it then triggers a verification step. So even if it's been completed by a contractor or someone external, you could always verify this internally as well to make sure that it aligns to your process. Equally, if it can't be done, again, reasons and attachments all the way through to verification steps in there for you. Now, the final part on here is dashboards that you're able to see. So what I'll do is I'll touch on dashboards and then we'll probably have around 5 to 10 minutes to cover any Q&As that anyone has. So feel free to drop any questions in the chat or the Q&A button as we go as well. The dashboards themselves, you'll notice they have all got filters at the top. So you're able to filter based on site level, department level, location, all the way through to a date filter as well within here. Now, I know a few people, if they're working on Excel spreadsheets, will then be building the graphs internally. The great part around these graphs themselves is you can expand them and export them to Word, PowerPoint, PDF, and Excel. So if you are putting together any board reports, anything like that, no need for any awkward screenshots or downloads. It'll automatically then default to a really nice format for you as well. All of the dashboards are formulated in the same way. You've got the general information always in the top left. And then a few of the reports are based on proactivity. So especially if you want to get out of that reactive just phasing, the proactivity on here is that you have all of the different incident categories that you've got at the bottom. If you want to start clicking through to start seeing what's causing them, you'll notice it'll have a few color codes based on what's reportable, what's lost time, so you know really where to direct your attention to as well. But you can drill down on here. So if I start noticing a lot to do with cabling and piping and machinery, maybe if I was to roll out a toolbox talk or some training around them, I would prevent all of these from happening. So it allows you to really focus on not only the areas, but also the key areas within business itself on here of where to focus that attention. The biggest part, which is also the part that we touched on, is when you're transitioning from any process itself, is the engagement from your users. How are they really embracing that change? What this allows you to see on here is if I take last month, for example, I had 42 incidents logged, which is quite good across my standard 12 months, but they have only been logged by 10 different people. So am I really getting a culture where it's shifting, changing more towards a more proactive environment? Now, this is either on an individual basis, but as most businesses tend to be trending site by sites, location by locations, which ones are reporting, which ones aren't, and what are the reasons for those. And again, being able to drill down. So not only from that site level, but also I might have a list of my departments, and then drilling that down all of the way through to individual names on here as well, all the way through to allowing anonymous reporting if you wanted to. Again, just typically depends on your engagement perspective. If you have low engagement, you can choose to trigger on anonymous reporting, but just be mindful that during your investigation, if you need to ask any follow-up questions, always something to be aware of. Equally, if you are also using spreadsheets, you might be logging your frequency of incidents manually with it at the moment themselves. So what this allows you to do is as soon as you input your hours worked in the top right hand corner, it will automatically calculate your frequency of incidents, reportable and lost time on here. And it will give you this year in the blue versus this time last year. So you can always see year on year development, year on year growth, and year on year engagement with your users as well. Whether it be from an incident perspective or from an action tracking perspective, you're always able to become proactive within here and get as soon as data as possible within here itself. Again, you'll notice very similar view. As soon as you can use one aspect of the platform, you can use every aspect of the platform just for usability, not only for your end users, but also for your admins being able to filter by sites and dates super easily all the way through to clicking through to that data. If I again expand these, all are able to be exported like I listed previously. And again, when you categorize them previously, it just means that you can say, I want to see all of my open corrective actions, for example. Simply click through and it'll automatically give you a list of all of those as well. The part that I like on here is if you, for example, do work on Excel spreadsheets right now, you might want to see the lowest priority first and shift them around. You might want to see them in alphabetical, and you're always able to shift and change these as well. It allows you to see not only which ones are the overdues, so what's the reason that, for example, a few of the users typically sit overdue, but also what's the notorious pattern of people completing them late as well. So you can not only see the ones that are being completed on time, the ones that aren't being completed at all, and if there's a notorious pattern of users completing them late, and what's the reason for that. Again, you will always see your site by site, location by location. What's the reason that my Amble site has so many more open compared to all of the sites? Is it because it's larger? Is it because of the users? And again, you can drill down to end users' perspectives if you like as well. I'll touch on this one briefly, just because one is one of my favorites, but two, it combines multiple of the modules within here. It allows you to see not only the sites that actions are typically raised, but also which modules are they coming from. So what's the reason that I'm getting so many more actions on my near miss forms compared to my injury investigations or compared to my audits or risk assessments within there? So it allows you to compare everything across the platform and even drill down to some seasonality as well. And what's the reason for that internally? Is there peaks within businesses all the way through? Again, you can always filter itself and it'll always drill down on that data, just so much easier for you to view as well. I'm conscious that was a very high level for you all as I whizzed through all of that. So if there's any questions as we walk through, I know that there's a Q&A button at the top on here. So let's just open that and see if there's any questions. Oh, can you upload company policies, procedures, RAMs, so that the incident report can relate to which policies? Okay. Yes, absolutely. So you've almost got two options of doing that process. So within the incident itself, if you wanted to drag and drop individually the policies, procedures, or anything that's specifically relating to this, if you wanted to. Your other option is then touching on a separate module within here, which would be our documents module on the left-hand side. My recommendation is within your documents module on here, you could have a list of policies, procedures, RAMs within there, and then you'd be able to link these back to those incidents themselves instead. Just make that process, rather than having to re-upload it every time, much easier for you. But yes, you would be able to do that. Equally, on our roadmap of our AI as well, in the top right hand corner, at the moment this pulls from the HSE knowledge within the bots that are being used that I mentioned at the start. But on our roadmap that we can always share across afterwards is that if you do have uploaded documents, policies, procedures, it will not only pull from its own data source, but it'll also pull from your policies and procedures you have hosted within the platform. Is currently on our roadmap of the AI as well. So just linking back to that question a little bit for you. On there. Greta, is there any other questions?
Yeah, I've also got a couple sent in here. I know a few people can join the call today. So I've got one. Can you have a multi-step investigation?
Yes, absolutely. You can choose to have a multi-step investigation if I select someone that's currently pending investigation right now. Depending on the severity or how in-depth that should be within there, what you can choose to do is have, for example, an initial, maybe check investigation, and at the bottom here, you can see that there's a second stage health and safety investigation, which almost works as an approval step if you wanted it to as well. So it could be completed by your managers or your supervisors initially on site, but then progress to your health and safety team just so that they've got knowledge of more serious incidents or accidents that have been undertaken as well. Each stage of those multi-steps I should touch on, they can choose to reject the previous one as well. So as they're going through, if they're not happy with the previous investigation or they think that they're not able to approve it because it's missing just a small piece of information, the health and safety team or the final stage of investigation can always reject the previous one and then push the notification back to that team just to ask any simple questions that they need to as well. Any others? You mentioned that there was a few.
Yeah, so we've got another one in here just around contractors. So can contractors use the app as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So contractors can definitely use the app as they work their way through if they wanted to. So for example, they can use a QR code that you could have up and around site, and at the bottom of maybe that QR code poster, they could have a unique company code within there as well. And then that unique company code allows them to go in. They don't necessarily need to input email address for one. So if they're a contractor that don't have any of those or they're using personals, they don't have to feel like they need to. It's just dependent on what you've mandated on the app itself. You could also use, if you have a combination of internal staff and external, maybe single sign-on and things like that to make it easier for users as well.
Great, thank you. I've got one here around incident categories. Just how many can you have in regards to that?
Oh, interesting question. And then I suppose touching, just because sometimes when people say terminology like incident categories and things like that. So what we mean by incident categories is almost what these are listed on here. So your event forms, so near misses, injuries. You can have a maximum of up to 14 within here for yourself, but I typically recommend starting with probably around 4 to 5, just so that you don't overwhelm the end users while they're getting started, is a new process. And then what you can do is almost drill, when you've got those drill downs on here, these drop downs, is almost using those as a little bit like subcategories within there for yourself. You'll be able to click through. So the short answer to that question is you can have up to 14, but to not overwhelm your end users, I typically recommend starting with around 4 to 5 initially, but you can always add some on later.
Perfect. I think you've sort of touched on this a little bit, but there's just one about if the internet does go halfway through submitting a report, what happens in regards to that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So all the reports you can export to PDF and have a PDF report within here for yourself. The PDF report will also have, for example, your logo within there and a few different pages within there for itself as well. What I can do is, if you pop me an email afterwards or anything like that, I can share a few example PDFs and things like that across with anyone who would like to see. But all of the reports you can export directly to PDF, and you'll have all of the color coding and questions you see directly on the screen as well.
Great. I think
I can see just in the chat section, there's a quick question on how easy it is to set up the process or migrating data over from an old supplier to a new supplier. So great question. I know if you're conscious that, especially if you're on Excel spreadsheets or if you're on a different supplier or anything like that, typically most of the data itself will be hosted on an Excel spreadsheet or a CSV file. As soon as we've got your incident categories or event categories set up on the platform, we would be able to input your data directly in here for yourself. So it's almost, and someone typically asks, is it as easy as turning it off and turning it on? But as soon as you've got your event forms and incident categories directly in here, you simply would then upload that file, or we would upload that file for you with your customer success team for yourself as well, just to make sure that that process is super easy and smooth for yourself.
perfect. Thank you very much, Lily. I'll just share my screen again for a little recap. And here. So I think just in terms of key takeaways from today's session, firstly, reporting engagement isn't a nice to have, it's vital. So everything you want, whether that's richer data, faster investigations, a proactive safety strategy, depends on your frontline actually reporting in the first place. So the first question to kind of ask is, are people telling us what's happening on the ground? Secondly, friction is what's suppressing your data. So when reporting is low, it's usually not because people don't care, it's because the system is making it hard. So when you take this away and make reporting a 60-second job from any device, whether that's online or offline, and also free for anyone to report, both the volume and quality of what you capture will change. And then thirdly, capturing the initial report is only half the job. So what keeps people reporting is seeing that it matters, that action is taken and closed out. And then once that data is flowing and the loop's closed, you can start spotting trends and hotspots early. And then that's the moment you shift from reacting to incidents to actively preventing them. So if you do have any more questions, please feel free to email Lily. Her details are on screen now. You can also learn more about Notify over on our website, notifytechnology.com. This recording will also be available on the Notify YouTube channel shortly, so you'll be able to revisit this and share it with any colleagues who possibly couldn't join us today. But if that's everything from you, Lily, that's everything from me. Thank you once again for joining. I really hope you found it useful, and we will hopefully see you all again soon.
Thanks, everyone.